Folks, this is an interesting conversation I'm going to have with my production manager, Alex. I think he's been on the fence as to what the Green New Deal is, but he's kind of come around a little bit, I do believe. And he did read enough about FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the guy that started the wealth tax that made the country great again. That was the guy that did it, a Democrat, and put everybody to work in 1935. He put the wealth tax down on people making $1 million and more on up. After the first million, you start paying 75% of your money, 75 cents on every single dollar after the first million. Biden has not announced what he's going to do, but he's going to put a wealth tax on after you make the first 400,000. Now, many of you out there, I'm sure, make $400,000, and you're going to be worried about your income. I'm sure you're worried that you will have to pay a tax because you make $400,000 and you don't want to pay any tax over 400,000 on any money over 400,000. So stop earning money beyond 400,000. Just stop right now. You understand that? I'm ordering you to stop right now. I'm insisting on that. Well, that's a joke, isn't it? Of course it is. But he's going to tax the wealthy. We built the country on the wealth tax. The big part of modern America was built on a wealth tax, among other things. World War II, the infrastructure, the grid that keeps your lights on, and the interstate highway system. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that. Let's just get the infrastructure. Oh, you can do without the interstate. So how is Biden going to use some of the things that FDR did? He's going to use the Green New Deal, and AOC is going to be his secret partner. You know, when somebody's got a backup, a gunman on the roof in a Western, she's going to shoot people out of the saddle. And like a good old Western, AOC is one hot lady. She's an ex-bartender. She knows people, and she also knows history. And that the Green New Deal is a copy off of FDR, what he did. Just changed the word around to Green New Deal. Eisenhower, when he was president from 1952 to 1960, said to people, you will not work for me unless you're for the New Deal. That was a Republican president, folks. A Republican president. Get that. What happened to the Republican Party? You have to know. We did a show on this. It was Ronnie Rectum that changed what the party was about. It was about money. Cut the tax to the wealthy. Well, they earn their own money, didn't they? I just was doing what they wanted me to do. I'm a good actor. Government's a problem, not the solution. Get rid of government. I'm Ronnie Reagan, and you got to do that. When I got into office, I inherited no debt. By golly. I know baseball, but I inherited no debt. I had a good deal. And when I left office, I left $3 trillion on the table, folks. $3 trillion of debt in 8 years. That's an accomplishment. And George Bush followed me in his 4 years, and he added another $2 trillion to that. Made it $5 trillion of debt. A future death path. I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But prior to this, and after Reagan, nothing much happened except jobs went out of the country. He's made tax breaks for the wealthy to leave the country for manufacturing, killed off manufacturing with his tax breaks to go to other countries to get manufacturing, turning this country into a service country. And now we've got a virus and nobody's friggin' working. That's the result of following Ronald Reagan. And now Donald Trump has jumped on board, promising you he's going to give you infrastructure, promising he's going to give you a healthcare system, and giving the rich a big, fat tax cut. And they already had all the money they needed. They didn't need that, but that was for the 1%. Are you part of the 1%? Of course you're not. So Biden is really kind of, without saying it, he's for the New Deal or the Green New Deal, whichever works best. So where are we going to put rail? And why is rail important? It puts ordinary people to work. Where can you put the rail? Well, if you try to go on land that isn't already dedicated to the public, like the interstate highway system, you got to fight everybody in their backyard to try to build anything. That anybody in their backyard can stop you. eminent domain doesn't always come into play. That's when you can take over land from people for public progress. So where do we already have the land? The middle of the interstate highway system. You can do a maglev or magnetic levitated train. It's above the interstate highway, right up the middle of the interstate highway system. Build it everywhere the interstate system is, and more. And it's less costly, but it puts a lot of people to work. They can make travel so much cheaper, and add to the taking of cars off the road, not just making more cars and just saying they're electric. Now, have you noticed the electric cars are getting cheaper? Oh, are they really? That's only the cars they're throwing away that are getting cheaper. The electric cars are more expensive. Yet they, instead of having 500 or 1,000 parts, they have like 21 parts in an electric machine. 21 parts. Hey, Alex, which car is cheaper to make, Alex? A car with 21 parts or a car with 400 or 500 parts? You tell me. You've been sitting there listening. I'm looking at you, so you're smiling. What do you think? What do you think?
Electric cars are definitely way cheaper to make and to maintain. Almost you don't have to maintain them for up to a million miles. It's been proven.
Mm-hmm. Of course it has. And who's going to make the cheapest electric cars? The United States. They're going to give up all those $30,000, $40,000 cars. And should it be? I mean, what do you think about that, Alex?
The only problem right now we have in the market is a lot of regulations, and the oil company, they have the lobbyists, they have the government.
So they've got a lock on the oil subsidies. That's what you're leading into, I think. Is that
Once
right?
once that changes, the oil boom is over with.
Well, whether it's over with or not, they're going to go electric as much as they can. But my question is, will the cars get cheaper, still look beautiful, and still function the way you want them to? Will they get cheaper with electric, or will they just balloon the price because it's new?
No, it's definitely no. Everybody's in competition for the cheaper, longer mile, more beautiful cars, more smart car for the cheapest price. Every company's in the game right now for that.
I've heard of batteries that go 2 million miles without charging. They're supposedly went out there in the ether somewhere. I don't know if it's out there of just breathing hot air down my neck, and my brain is not functioning. But the point is, it is cheaper to make. It's fewer parts, and the battery itself. Well, they say they're going to make them smaller and smaller and smaller, and more powerful and more powerful. Oh,
Okay, can I say one thing real quick? It's the same with oil now. The government issued a statement maybe a month ago that solar energy is the cheapest form of energy you can make.
well, I think, Alex, everybody believes that, but you do realize that Mr. Trump has parked about 20,000 of our military troops in a new place. They were not there before in the last 3 months. You know what country that is?
Hopefully not.
Saudi Arabia. So
I knew you
now
were going to say that.
so all those Trumpites out there are in bed with Saudi Arabia right along with Trump. And what did Saudi Arabia do? They did 9/11. They did 9/11. And who gets in bed with Saudi? And what country did Trump go to? The first country he went to when he became president? Oh my God. He danced with the monarchy of Saudi Arabia. Now, why
The
did he
sword
do that?
dance.
He did the sword dance. Now, what is the sword dance? It's the one they do for you in the desert just before they cut your head off. so, so this and the Republicans are all saying, "Oh, the Muslims! Oh, the Muslims!" Well, what is Saudi Arabia? Muslim. Who gets in bed with Saudi Arabia? Oh no, Donald Trump did that. Oh my God, what are we going to do about that? Oh no, our own president's in bed with the Muslims, and the worst Muslims of all, who bombed 9/11. Oh my God. Oh, it's terrible. Oh no, don't tell me what I don't want to hear. We gotta point to AOC. She's got to be a Muslim. Oh nope, she's Roman Catholic. Sorry, she's fallen away Catholic, but she was Catholic, just like Barrett in the Supreme Court, Kavanaugh in the Supreme Court's Catholic, Thomas is Catholic. Oh my God, the whole damn Supreme Court, all but 3 people are Catholic. Jesus, Kagan's Catholic. I mean, what in the hell's going on here? Catholics everywhere. Joe Biden's Catholic. Oh, it's a confusing situation. And Trump is getting in bed with the Saudi Arabians. And the long thought situation is they paid off his debt in his casinos. It wasn't Putin after all. And they did it through the Deutsche Bank. So the ball game's being played between oil and energy right now. You can only trust those who love rail to put it in. And what did Biden do all the way through his legislative career? He went home every night on the train from Washington. Every night he rode the train, all those years, back and forth on the train, morning and night. That's somebody, I would say, is kind of down to earth and is going to say, rail, yeah, I like rail. Let's make it better. You can take the ice train in Germany all the way to, Czechoslovakia, way east. The train travels back and forth all the time. And you get on the train and you can walk through you can't tell you're in one section or another. It rides that smoothly at 300 friggin' miles an hour. And people use it to sit through conferences on the train. They stop along the way to have breaks outside of the train and walk around and go to restaurants, or they can eat in the train. But these long conferences go on for hours. So why not stop and have a picnic or stop at a local cafe next to the train depot, etc. Very modern. Now, we have anything like that? No. You know, the virus supposedly happened in Wuhan. And I saw an overhead shot of the city of Wuhan, China. I counted 30 high-speed trains parked in Wuhan. It's a central parking place for high-speed trains, all going 300 miles an hour. Where are they going to? They're going to developments all over China. Ordinary people are getting all kinds of jobs, raising rabbits, whatever it is. But those jobs are designed to put people to work, like the guy that pumps your gas in Portland, Oregon, like the guy that stands at the toll booth and you pay him, not shove it into a machine that gets fouled up, or an ATM in a bank that screws up your money. I put $700 in the bank at an ATM. It screwed it up 2 months before I got credit for the $700. They essentially stole my money for 2 friggin' months, and then reluctantly gave it back to me. Machinery instead of people is not a good thing. You kill off community when you make everything automated. Oh, it's so much faster, so much more efficient. For who? For profit. Oh, you got to do everything for profit, not for people. Profit. Oh, yeah. People, screw them. Screw them every time, as often as you can. I'm Donald Trump. I did that. Ha, 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 ha. I know how to screw things. I can go bankrupt. Smart people do that. Oh, he said that in the campaign against Hillary. He said that. And people thought, well, that's a good thing. He's a rich man. Rich men steal. It's all right. Other small criminals steal. Put them in jail. Slam them in there. Charge them with everything. Put them under all kinds of probation and everything. Make their life friggin' miserable. But somebody like Donald Trump, applaud him. Cheer him. He said, make America great again. Follow my example. Be like me and be rich. You know, it's really a joke, but the joke's on the American people. I sat in a bar 2 or 3 different times. I heard the same conversation. He's just like you and me. He'd have a beer with us. He's just like you and me. Oh, yeah? You know what? He doesn't fucking drink. Sorry, folks. You're living in a dream, and he's not like you and me. He doesn't steal from people through shenanigans. He builds buildings. In Miami, he had several buildings he built. He took deposits on condos. He built in a building, and then he bankrupted the thing, kept the deposit money, started over again, redid the same deal, and continued to take new deposits for condos and did it all over again and again and again. He's a friggin' thief, and he's our existing sitting president. But he's somebody who's going to say, but you're stealing my election. My election's meant for me. It's not for anybody else. What a joke. What a sad joke, Alex. I'm looking at you and I see you put your hands over your eyes. I know there's a bit of chagrin and I know you have friends that you still have to talk to that are Trumpers and so forth. I have friends too that are the same way. They're followers of Trump. Oh, he's going to win this thing. He's going to win this election. He's going to bring it around. Oh, really? He's going to be the laughing stock. That's what he's going to be.
I just
But
hope.
coming
I
back
just hope.
to the making America great, Biden and the New Deal and the Green New Deal really will be the path to making America great. And copying FDR is the path to go in. Now, what did FDR do particularly? First 100 days, he put everybody he could to work. Built the infrastructure bank, not building one, put it in place. Infrastructure bank is like you invest in a bank, any old bank, except that bank had a rate 2% higher than any bank available. So investors, and they guaranteed those loans. So when you have bad times and you get bank giving you 2% higher than anybody else is a good deal. So more people and people from out of the country invest in that. Biden's going to do that. The other, which is what FDR did. The other thing he did, in order to put electricity to the farmers in Idaho and wherever, all over the country, he had to have things like the Powell Dam out in Arizona, or the Hoover Dam in Nevada, part of the Colorado River. Those are hydroelectric dams. So they produce electricity for all the areas west and all over the country in between. And ordinary farmers who previously had windmills at best, that's about all they had, no power at all. Didn't have batteries, just had to do the best they could. Suddenly had electricity. I used to work in buildings, and we did a remodeling of a church one time. We got up in the dome of the sanctuary of the church and looked around. And this is a little country town in Illinois, and this electric system was put in 1918. They had electricity, and that was in Illinois, middle of Illinois, the central part of the state. So that's before Hoover and before FDR. So electricity was around, but it wasn't really pushed by major power sources. The middle part of the country was the TVA, Tennessee Valley Association. They put in hydroelectric all over the TVA, flooded the valleys and put dams in and power electric that way. So the middle of the country got part of that grid, and the Hoover Dam out in Arizona and the Powell Dam out in Arizona did to the west, and they had things like that to the east as well. That all fell pretty much totally done under FDR. So the country came alive and electrically alive and modern because of that kind of effort, putting thousands and millions of people to work. This is the model that I believe Biden is going to follow. So he's going to weatherize all your buildings in the country, putting everybody to work, make an application to come to get a job with the United States government. We'll assign you a job. They'll be putting that out after January 20th, faster than you know. You'll be working for the government. Oh my God. Who works for the government? Only welfare people. Excuse me. And the military. Are the military people welfare people? Of course they are. Do they take a paycheck from the federal government? Of course they do. So what do people say? I love your service. I honor your service. I talked about in the previous show, how don't you do your service here, build America and make America great again? And Biden will fulfill, if he isn't stopped by the Congress, he will fulfill what Trump promised. And that's what we can look forward to. You may not like the idea that Trump's a failure, but you have to admit it. He promised everything and delivered only for the rich. That's what he did. And if you're not one of those, he didn't deliver for you. I'm middle income. He screwed me over. He cost me $150,000 in revenue by his changes in law. That's what I lost in his 4 years. So I'm talking from experience. Excuse me. I got a bit of a cold. I'm going to come to the end. Excuse me. The end of this segment. You might want to delete that, Alex. Alex,
You're fine. You're fine. You're good. You're
I gotta
fine.
get a drink.
You're good. Take your time. We're in a Skype call. It's all live. I mean, we should keep it real. You're fine. Take your time. I just think that since Trump personally did that to you, obviously I'd be hurt as well. I mean, $150,000 is a lot to lose in 4 years.
He really
We
did.
call-
I was making money. Listen, I was making. Yes, not only did I lose money because I had no deductions past a certain. His change. I had to put 4 roofs on 4 buildings, brand new. The insurance paid for half of them because it was hail damage. Well, that was $40,000 I didn't have to pay, but $40,000 I had to pay. Because it went above the $25,000 limit, I lost $15,000 each year, times 4, $60,000 right there. Plus a sewer problem I had, I lost on that too, beyond certain 20. The $25,000 wasn't just for the roof, it was any repairs you had, you only could deduct $25,000. A real screwing, a true screwing. That's why it's 150. And it's just this is our conversation going here, but this.
Augie, can I say this? I'm sure all the real estate owners and the landlords can relate to this. I mean, there's a lot of people watching this. I mean, landlords. I'm sure everybody can relate to this. You guys got screwed too, not just Augie.
Well, if they knew what they were being fucking screwed, some people aren't very smart.
Did you grab the water?
Yeah, I got to drink a little more. I talk too often, too long, and for too intense a period of time, and I dried my throat out.
Well, you're fine. You're 22 minutes in. I mean, this is great conversation. We appreciate all this. I'm sure all the viewers appreciate all this.
Yeah, I'm to make it final. I want this. I believe in people who serve for their country, and who do it for very low income. You serve your country as a soldier, but you also serve as a citizen politician. And that's what Reagan liked to call himself, a citizen politician, except for he screwed everybody. He screwed except to the very top rich. And he set the terms, and the Republican Party loved that idea, and they completely flipped away from Lincoln. Imagine if Trump had done in 6 years, 4 years, let's say 4 years, build a new rail system across the country, East Coast to West Coast. That's what Lincoln did with the telegraph. The first rail system was created by a Republican from east to west. And he carried his body from Washington to Springfield, Illinois. And as they stopped at every little stop along the way, and the people wept and waved at the casket that was in the train, because he'd come before for his second term and waved to them on the same train. Now he was a dead president. He ended the Civil War. All this in 6 fucking years. That's the Republican. That's why his face is on Mount Rushmore. He's the greatest next to FDR. The two of them are the two greats. So it's just, but they both cared most about their fellow man. That's the point. And it's, I want the president that's down to earth. I mean, Biden is a penny ante politician from the money stand. He's more like Harry Truman to me. And is he a great spokesman? Maybe, maybe not. But he's good enough. But he is, I think, legitimate. His kid got in trouble with the Ukrainians over there and took money from Burisma and all that. It really is not Biden doing that. He didn't make any. They tried to allege he made money. No, that's not true. Barr never brought a charge. The Attorney General, if there was true proof there, Barr would have brought a charge on that. He never did. Why not? That because there was no there there. That's the point. So people like to make things like Snyder, Burisma and the Bidens and da 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 da. No, no. Bill Barr would have jumped all over that if he had anything. And he didn't. So that being aside, I think Biden is a legitimate guy. The thing that's going to be frustrating for the next term, people are assuming he won't last but one term. I think he's going to last 2 terms. And if he gets in trouble in the second term, then he'll step aside. And guess who the vice president will be? This is good.
Who?
Barack Obama. He can stay vice president under Harris until hell freezes over. And he won't replace any president ever. Under law, he can be vice president. He can't be president again. But vice president with Harris in there, that will shake the shit out of the trees, I'll tell you that. Now, whether that would happen or not, it won't be 2 women, I'll tell you that. But it might well be Barack Obama. So it's you're looking at people think, oh, Trump's going to come back and he's going to sweep the table. He's going to deal with that woman in there. She's the president. He'll no, ain't going to happen. Ain't going to happen. There's stupid Democrats out there, but they're not that stupid. So anyway, Alex, I think we did something. I'm not sure what it is. My cough and all up. I could take my cough out of this. I haven't been drinking enough.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Humans cough. Humans cough. Trust me, you're fine.
All right. So, all right. Yeah, I think people underestimate the people he picked for his cabinet, and John Kerry is another one. John Kerry, if he were to step in and say, Obama says, I won't be the vice president. How about you, John? You do it. John Kerry, when he speaks, you're like listening to Lincoln. He looks like Lincoln. He acts and sounds like Lincoln, and he's an ex-military. I watched him before the Congress telling about how our soldiers were killing thousands of innocent people in Vietnam, and he testified to that. He's a great human being. He got fucked over in the second election by Bush, and he actually won that election. People don't realize it. You know what happened there in that election? That was in 2004. What happened? I was running the Democratic office down on Clark Road at the time. He conceded the election the next day instead of giving him one more day and waiting. Had he done that, the votes that were Ohio votes, 200,000 votes. Trying to think of the guy that ran the Republican Party at that time. He electronically flipped all these 200,000 votes over to Tennessee like it was just a normal bunch of votes. Why would they go to Tennessee? So they wouldn't show up in the Ohio vote for the count. That's why. And when they came back to Ohio, then he would have won Ohio. Instead, he lost Ohio, and he lost the election to Bush. We wouldn't have the financial mess, none of the crap that the Bushes had done. I mean, this whole ballgame would change completely. So we have to think differently. What is the president? And the fucking electoral college has got to go away. You may not like the state of California deciding an election. I sure as hell don't like the idea of Idaho deciding an election or Iowa, these little states. I want the population to decide the election. And if you're putting more people to work, you gain all the way around. I mean, everybody went, wives, women, everybody went to work in World War II. The women were building trains and not trains, planes and buses and tanks and all that sort of thing, jeeps in the factories. And when the war was over, the men came back from the GIs coming back, wanted to go back to the factories to work. They went in and the union says, no, we don't have a job for you. Well, those women should get kicked out. Well, they're part of the union. Kick them out. And they had many big fights all over the country where guys wanted women kicked out from their jobs because they were soldiers. And they said, well, you got the GI Bill, go get your education. It's free. The government's paying for you. They're going to pay for your wife and your kids and give you a house to stay in or an apartment to stay in at the government's expense while you get your education. Do that and get a better job and wait for the time to change and more work to come, and which was plenty of work in those days. And they said, but the black guys, sorry about that. You can't get housing because you're black or you're Puerto Rican. We won't let you get housing under the GI Bill, even though you were a soldier. It was written in that way. Puerto Ricans too were cut out. So it's an old game, and these who's dealing the cards is dealing the deck. So this shit's old, and I keep plugging along and surviving. I don't know how long I'll be still around. I've got an aorta that's acting up. Maybe I'll know in another month or so where that's at. But also I have another. That means I'll have to have another operation to correct that. A lot of people don't realize the aorta is like a fucking bicycle tire. And if you get a little thorn in the bicycle tire, it goes fucking flat. If you get one in your aorta, then it starts seeping blood. And if it goes rapidly, you fucking die and you just go to sleep, or you have terrible pain, or both. So I've had two of those bicycle repairs, and I've got a third one possibly coming. And the doctor told me, he says, well, I don't know if I could do that one. This one coming. He says, I might paralyze you from the waist down. No shit. So I'm going to talk to another doctor. Can you do that? Because it's in the location down in my groin area. And if you're in between the groin and the spinal area, you can fuck up the spinal nerve, which makes people paralyzed. So it's down the road, but the road's getting closer to the end of the year. And it's at the end of the year in another month. But yeah, I'm enjoying what you brought forward for me, Alex. I want you to know that. You get a lot of criticism from people who they look you up. Well, he's a problem. He's got all these little rugrats running around from different women and all that stuff. I said, Alex really is a good person. He makes the mistake of mixing it up with people he shouldn't mix it up with. He listens to people he shouldn't listen to. He needs to understand who and what his own country is really about, has been about, and when it has done what it has done. And now what he changes to and becomes, he's 31 or 32 years old. I tell this to people. This is a conversation I've had. I'm telling you about it. But Angie is the one who supports you. People have said things to her about you, and this is the truth, that she says, he's had problems, but he's doing straight by my dad. I wouldn't support what dad's doing unless he was doing that. So that's a commendation to you, just so you know that. Yeah, and did I pick you up from the jail? Why did I do that? You know why I did that? I believe there was more to you than you knew about yourself. This is a great commentary. If it comes from me, it's great. If it comes from someone else, it's greater. But it's important that you know that. So listen to the people that really support you more than those who just give you lip service. That's.
I appreciate that.
I'm telling you this straight on. You can record this or what do you want to do. It doesn't matter to me. But I've had myself second guessed so many times. I says, well, I'll check with my daughter and she'll tell me if it's right or not. She's immediately sent me the 87,000. Don't listen to these people who don't know what they're doing. That's what she said. So you.
Augie, but just know people get jealous the more views you have.
Is that right?
Trust me, it's fame.
Is it?
Why does Augie have 80,000 views? Who is he?
Right.
It's impossible. Alex is a criminal.
There you go. There you go. See,
They're
that's
jealous.
Mhm. It is a form of jealousy, I suppose. All we have to do is stuff it in their nose, right?
Augie, oh, you know what? They probably just kill themselves if they see how many comments we get a day.
Mm-hmm. Well, we got to figure out how to get those damn subscribers subscribed. How do we do that?
We just ask, hey guys, subscribe to the show, support the show. That's how we get supported. Subscribe. I mean, that's the truth. Subscribe to Augie, guys. I'm the producer. I'm here to tell you that's how we get support from YouTube.
Well, we have to say it a little differently, I think. If you really like the show and you need more people to see it, we can't do this for nothing. Eventually, we have to do it for something. For it's called money or something like it. We have to know that you really support us and that if you only give a signature and subscribe for no money at this time, to make sure we continue. For our continuance, you have to simply sign on the board and subscribe. So we have to make a pitch like that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll always, we're to the point where the guys, I mean, I want to tell the viewers this. You guys subscribe, it's for free, always. We'll make money off YouTube. We'll make money off people that will put advertisements in front of you. But we appreciate you watching and listening to the message Augie says. I'm not a Republican. I'm more of a Democrat. I support Augie and everything he says. I don't agree with everything, but the guy's got, years of knowledge that nobody really ever has. And this is a golden goose of a show. I mean, you guys are privileged to hear about FDR because he knows FDR. He's not from our time. He's from FDR's time. And that's where the show gets its credibility from because the knowledge is so deep. And I think the viewers, we all need to know this. I need to know this. The viewers need to know this, that the knowledge is there. I mean, the opinion is there as well. Well, that's Augie's opinion. But the history is there. He knows FDR. He knows JFK. Ronald Reagan, guess what? Augie lived in the Ronald Reagan economy and the economy before that. So the opinion of the taxes, Ronald Reagan's tax problem destroyed everything. I believe it. Why? Because Augie lived through it.
Well, the best test for Reagan, and I warned people at the time, was he fucked California. And do you think he's not going to fuck you?
I didn't know this until I met you, Augie. And I appreciate it because you're real history, man. You are the real history book. You're not a liar.
Yeah. If I find I'm wrong, and I want to be corrected, But and for Christ's sake, I'm going to do my Spotify show too.
Yeah. We are now on Spotify. I mean, we're doing the only show we have on Spotify is the message of Jesus, the Brotherhood message of Jesus. But it's on Apple Podcasts as well. Yeah. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Buzzsprout podcast.
Well, the Jesus story is Jesus is really the scheming kid. What he did there is I got a little more information. I checked into what I thought I knew, and I found out I was right.
Your story of Jesus is very interesting. As a Christian, I'm intrigued. I don't believe in it, but that's my personal opinion.
Alex, let's know this one thing. If you read the prayer from the Sermon on the Mount and you read the 8 Beatitudes, that's what I believe in, those two things. Nothing else. No one else.
That's why I love what you say when you talk about Jesus, because you talk about the real Jesus. The only thing I don't like is when you say he's not the Son of God.
He said it himself. He said it himself. I'm not making that up.
He did.
Yes, he did. I am not the Son of God. I'm your brother. That's why the prayer says, our Father, not my Father.
But I worship him as the Son of God.
Well, then you choose to make him something he wasn't. You can make him what you want to. You can make him into the thin man or whatever. I mean, I don't care what you make him into. But if you do that, then you're making him impossible for people. But if he's your brother, he's very possible. So what people do when they make Christ into God, they make him somebody that's greater than they are.
We can debate that. It's in for another
Well,
show.
it's all about love. It's only about love, Alex. Love is in you. God is in love. God is in you.
Gotcha.
That's why. It's that simple. And that was the argument, Christ, that I'm going to tell about in the continuing story. So it sounds like a hippie story. God is love. Anyway, I'll talk to you later then, guy.
All right, man. Thanks again.
All right.
See you, Augie. Have a good night, man. Oh, you there?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. What?